Hey guys, welcome back. This is Vlad Cameron from Dreamlight. In this video, I'm going to showcase my new HDR package or mega package featuring 100 HDR maps plus a bonus 50 additional masks that you can use to place items or vehicles or characters behind the buildings. So I'm going to showcase you how quickly you can load this, and that in fact is up to 100 times faster in rendering time. So all you need to do when you have it installed is go to my DAZ library, Live Presets, Dreamlight, IRA, Mega, HDRI Packs, and Steampunk Streets. And all you do is click on this initial render setting and you're ready to render off the bat. You just aim your camera and render. Now these maps, like I said, come with an additional filler. Some of them, right? 50 maps with and 50 without. And so you can just click on the map without and off you go. Immediately you're ready to render without that. Now, why do we have that extra filler? Well, let me just demonstrate you first how easy it is to use. I'm gonna load a vehicle. I'm gonna go up here and load, post-apocalyptic car, load that. And immediately as you load an item, you don't want to move the item around, all right? Instead, you just add a camera, switch the camera view, and you're ready to render. It's that easy, right? You move the camera around here in the camera settings up here. You move the camera left and right, up and down, match, and you're ready to render. It's that quick. You just position it anywhere you want, adjust the camera, and it's ready. Now, as you can see, it's kind of dark in the shadows. That is by design. If you want that look, cool, right? If you don't, go back to that initial and just folder here, and you just add the one with the filler, and you instantly have beautiful frontal soft lighting, all right, paired with the stronger sunlight. So you get this professional look and feel that photographers use all over the world, right? They have this strong sunlight from behind, and they have a much more weaker frontal lighting from the front. So you can go ahead and, you know, play with that if you want to. So you got 50 normal maps without the filler and 50 the same maps with. All right, 100 maps in total. I'm gonna come back to the additional JPEG alpha masks, which you can use to render inside the studio, for instance an airship, and place it behind the building. I'm going to show you that in a second. First of all, so the thing is, if you want to kind of change your camera here and say, or map, and say you want to use something else, let's say we want to use this one, so click on that, immediately the map is loaded, and you can just quickly turn that around. Move the camera, again, do not move the prop, move the camera, and you are ready to render. It's that cool, that quick. All right. Now, what if you want that filler? Well, click on the version with the filler and it's on instantly. Gives you professional looking soft lighting from the front, perfectly matching the set. Now, these maps cover a lot of cool camera angles throughout the city. You got top-down angles scattered around all this cool set, and you also got, you know, distant. Let me just show you this one. This one is a bit higher up. Just quickly adjust it, move the camera, and ready to render. That quick. Is that super quick, guys? Now, let's say you want to use some kind of fancy angle here. I've got this on this platform. Let's click there, immediately move the cam, adjust the height, move a little bit closer, and you're ready to render. It's that easy. So it's very, very fast. Now, I got some really cool, you know, additional angles here, because this is a huge set. As you can see, there's angle distant shots, there's this angle covering the water canal and so forth. And also, I've got a cool platform here, map 42, which is really cool. This one here covers cool angle, which you can see It covers a little bit of the platform here and also the entire city here from below. It's very dramatic. So that one looks pretty cool with the dark, contrast, but you can also use the filler if you want to ease in that a little bit. Now I'm going to show you two cool tricks right inside Dash Studio with a little bit of help from Photoshop, and that is to use depth of field. Normally when you put your camera here and you just want to use a blurry background, you need to kind of remove the ground, because as you soften that, if you just engage, let's say, and turn off any additional lighting, we got camera depth of field, and we just adjust it so it's on the car, right? Somewhere around here. You can also go to top view, auxiliary viewport, top view, and just say, hey, I want my car to be in focus. So you place that gizmo, ball or line, or whatever you want, and it's working perfectly with the maps. However, a problem occurs when you zoom out and you face the entire map and notice that the entire map is soft. Well, the solution to this is to render 2 times, right? One without. Just do that real quick. And just render this off the bat. And this particular scene right now is rendering on an RTX 260, a laptop version. As you can see, it goes in seconds. I'm going to show you CPU rendering as well, because I'm always all about showing you exactly how fast things are. And I'm going to just save that. Go ahead and save last render. And in here, I'm going to just use BMP car1 and save. Now I'm going to turn on depth of field and re-render real quick, right? So because this goes so fast, you can render and re-render, and you don't have to wait hours for your render. It goes really fast because the entire set is no longer there. There's no polygon overhead, there is no texture overhead from the heavy scene. You're only rendering the car. And once you have this now done, let me just call it car 2, we go into Photoshop and simply add our both images in here. And it's very easy. You just grab one of these using Ctrl-A, just like all, Ctrl-C to copy, use Command on the Mac, go back, Ctrl-V to paste, and all you do now is click down here on Create Mask, and now we're going to create a gradient using black and white color. Go here, select a gradient, and just, select something like that. Now, suddenly you have perfect sharpness at the bottom, and you got the blurriness at the top. There we go, right? Very simple. Now we can do the same thing, the same procedure on, let's say you want to play with the contrast here a little bit. Let's say you kind of like the bright car as you see now, but you want it a little bit darker, but not too dark. Because let's say we go back to the original map 42 without the extra filler, and you think, well, for my needs, it's kind of a little bit too dark. Well, no problem. Let's render this first. This is gonna be our main. And this is how fast it goes, guys. This is literally how fast it goes. I'm not kidding you. Let me turn off GPU rendering and just do CPU. And let me show you actually how fast it goes using CPU. I'm not kidding you guys. This is CPU rendering. CPU on a laptop. A few seconds later, and you see you're only rendering the car. You don't need to bother about the building. Right? A few seconds later, and it's done. It looks good. Of course, CPU takes longer than GPU rendering. It's a no. Well, that's just the case, right? But it goes really fast, and you don't have to wait hours for your render to finish. You just wait a few seconds. Guys, 35 seconds on CPU rendering is done. Looks good enough. All right, so let me redo this real quick. Let me save and call it car with car dark, right? Let me switch on to GPU rendering, and let's go for that filler light and just render. Now this time around, we're gonna have a slightly brighter car. And let's say we don't like the particular look. Let's say we kind of like it slightly darker, all right? So let's do that. Let's call car bright. And turn off rendering, go to Photoshop and load our car. So what happens now is I got these two fellas, right? Car dark and car bright. Now we can copy one on top of the other and control exactly how bright the car is. See that? Using this. So now you can decide, hey, I just want the car somewhere in between. All right, so you have that option as well if you don't like, for some reason, the default value of the fillers. Now let me show you one more thing. Let's say we want to place an airship behind the buildings. Let me just show you how that's done. Let me remove the car and let's go here and let's load a airship. Go to vehicles and Steampunk airship, Spirit of Punk. Now again, you don't move the prop, you move the camera back. Let's grab some other cool dramatic looking, let me just pause real quick. And let's pick one that has portions of the geometry actually in front of our set, like map 49. Let's grab that. Let's use the filler on it. Let's see how this looks like. Now we can also disable shadowing. If you don't want the airship to cast shadows, if you want to render it behind the geometry and you don't want to have it cast shadows, you can always go to the environment, sub-tab of the render settings, and just turn off ground. Right, that will turn off shadow casting, which also speeds up rendering. So now we can go ahead and choose here. Let's say we go for something like that. And I want the ship to be much larger or smaller, sorry. And I want it to go, let's say we go somewhere around, I think that looks pretty cool. Slightly to the side. All right, and now this, obviously the ship now ends up in front of the geometry, right, where it's supposed to be behind. So as a bonus, I included free 50 JPEG masks that you can use to mask the ship away properly inside Photoshop. So all you do now is you go ahead and render this just as it is. Just hit render. Let me show you how that works real quick. All right, looks cool. And go ahead and save. Call it airship. I'm using BMP for maximum quality. Now what I'm gonna do is on the environment sub-tab, first of all I'm gonna remove the ship from my scene. Do not move the camera right now, okay? You click here on the environment map, click on browse, and you select here the exact map you're using. So let me just see which one that is. This one here is called 49. So I'm going to select browse and select 49 JPEG, which is over here. This is my work project folder and I don't have it loaded. How embarrassing. Let me do that real quick. I sound like a crazy scientist, right? All stuff going on. So your folder, let me remove that junk. Your folder will look slightly different. You will not have the main renders I created. You will just have the HDRs and these JPEGs. So all you do is click on this one, and this now will load that map into your view, and you just hit render. That's all you do. Just remember to remove that prop before rendering. Let me go to save and you call it airship mask, right? Remember to not move the camera. Now let's head into Photoshop real quick again. Cool, let's remove the car. And let's load that again. Airship mask. Right. So what we need here is to remove the airship from the building. And in order to get that, we need to also render another pass of the map without the airship, just like that. Just run that as well. This goes really, really quickly, which takes a second. I'm gonna call it airship, without ship. All right, now let's load that as well. All right, so what we need now is to place this without airship, Control A, Control C, on top here, and now use this mask, Control A, Control C, go back, click on create mask on the top layer, alt click on it, Control V to paste, and now go back. Wrong way, let me just go back and just invert. There we go. Now the ship is placed behind. Really, really cool. Now, ideally, when you have a distant object, I would tone it down a little bit. So what you can do with it is unlock this layer. Okay, click here on the lock to unlock it. And now, well, let me do another method here. On this top layer here, you simply wanna adjust its contrast. That's the quickest way to do that. You know, I teach 3D, and there's always 500 ways of doing the same thing. You basically just increase the contrast of that layer, of this mask layer, and that immediately turns that ship into less, you know, vivid looking. And by the way, you can also, I often say this, use legacy down here. That will have a much more powerful effect. All right, much more powerful effect. Cool. So now we've got a distant airship placed behind using these masks. Pretty cool. Now I'm gonna let you on a small secret. Sometimes when you create masks, there's gonna be an outline, and you can actually get rid of it quite easily right inside Photoshop. What you do is use a selection tool here called, let me just locate that. I have all my icons are a little bit messed up here. It's called Magic Wand tool, available over here. And you click on this area down here, and what you can do with it is you can go to select and modify, and you can expand or contract that selection, right? So you can make it larger or smaller. So you can, for instance, expand it by 2 pixels. This will now increase the selection, as you can see, right? And what that means is you can now, because it's expanded, it's larger, you can go ahead and create a new layer and fill it with white. All right, let's do that real quick. Paint. There you go. So now you have a larger selection, and now we can combine these layers. This is just an example. This was 2 pixels, right? Now we go back here to the airship, remove this, delete. Let's add a new one. Alt click, paste, and invert. So now you can see the edge is gone, right? So you can select 1 pixel or 2. I think 2 might be a little bit too much, but you can control that if that's an issue for you. Now, let me show you a few more renders here inside our studio. So I'm gonna add a female model to my scene. She's out of the screen right now. I'm just gonna quickly add some hair to her and also throw in an outfit, so she's not completely nude in our video here, right? Let me just pause real quick, and let me bring back some shadows, draw going on, and I'm gonna switch to different image here we can render with. So let's go to, let me just pause. Let's pick one here along, you know, I have so many angles here. I was going crazy here, making them. Let's select the number 26. This one, this one looks pretty good. Map 25, a filler, on. So we got this beautiful view here, right? And again, we don't want to move the character, we simply move the camera to quickly position her, and off we go. And that's done. You're ready to render, right? It's that quick. Now, on a different note here, I think the dress is slightly misaligned there. We got here from the other way, map 26 without the filler. I'm turn the camera around. Let's go here and simply position her right there. And that's it. It's really, really quick. And it's instant. Super, super calm. All right. Now, when you're just, not using the ground, you can, by all means, just frame your character like this and select depth of field on the camera. Here on the top view, you can just simply select it to hit our character, the front of her back of the hair, and we get ready to render that quickly. So guys, again, you're getting 100 maps, 50 with, 50 without the additional filler. You get 50 additional masks, so you can put airships behind the buildings, which is really cool. And you save a ton of rendering time. I've literally spent 48 hours non-stop rendering using dual, that's two RTX 280 Ti cards. These are high-end cards, right? Not the one I'm using here, this is just on my laptop. But this set was created using dual RTX 280 Ti cards. And it took non-stop rendering 48 hours. 48 hours of non-stop rendering to create these. Not to mention, converting into DAZ Studio so that they actually work as HDR maps, right? And match perfectly with lighting and all. But the thing is, you get to play with this instantly right now. You don't need to wait. You don't need to create anything. It's super fast rendering and it's yours right now. Alright, you guys, before ending this video, I also want to add some additional small tricks, which includes obviously changing the color. You can always tint the HDR maps. They are not like the colors you get here, they're kind of like normal default. You can always, tint the environment and get it to look in a different manner, or even warmer if that's something you prefer, right? Now also right inside DAZ Studio, you can always control some additional things in the tone mapping settings, like the white point. White point will change, this is like an inverted tint, if you will. Blue will make it more orangish, and orangish will make it more blue, and you can also play with all the other colors here and make it really cool looking if you want to, right? But the thing I wanted to show you is also you can play with vignetting right inside DAZ Studio. You can create that darker edges, that was a bit too much, to tone your image, which is kind of cool. You can obviously always adjust the intensity right in the environment tab. You can adjust the intensity of the map, but also here in tone mapping, you can do that on the film ISO. And this is like a master slider. It will adjust all the maps, in this case this HDR map, but also all the other lights you add to your scene, because you can also throw in additional lights if you want to, right? Now you can also punch the film ISO to get a more vivid or brighter looking image, to really punch it. That will heavily overblow what's going on here, but look really, really cool in some darker areas of the image. All right, now we can also play with obviously crush blacks and saturation. You can go black and white if you want. All right, pretty cool. Let me turn off vignetting and go back to like 150 maybe. So you can get really dramatic renders right inside DAZ Studio. You don't even need to go into Photoshop. Plus you can go negative if you want some really funky looking stuff. All right, cool. Now, there is also this setting in the environment tab at the very bottom, which says ground shadow intensity. I'm not going to show you that, but you can actually adjust how intense the shadows are from the HDR map. If you think they are too shallow or too bright looking or too well, you're not seeing them harsh enough, you can just increase this here and get them really pitch black, or vice versa. You can go ahead and adjust this down to get shadows more soft looking. Now, one final thing, obviously right here inside Photoshop you can continue and play with things quite a bit. I have my own favorite filter, which is sold in my own DAZ store. It's called the Dreamlight DAZ Studio Magic Filter, and this, obviously you can use any filter. There are native filters inside here. You can use Topaz or whatever you have, but I'm just gonna play this one here. It makes the render look slightly more vivid and more like kind of dirty looking, but still cool, right? More realistic. And you can then adjust it to your taste and say, hey, I would like this look here, flatten the image, and I always go through the camera. Then you can just adjust it further here and make it more, let's say, warm if you like. You can play with the exposure, get the exact look you want. You can play with contrast, shadows, highlights and whatnot. You can just, you know, fine-tune your image into oblivion. Adjust texture, clarity, and I always do that. I adjust the vignetting down slightly to tone the edges of the image and pull attention back at the center. All right, enough of this. I could spend hours, and by the way, I do that. I spend hours teaching this, but I just wanted to give you a little bit more info here what you can actually do with your renders. So guys, I don't know for how long I will keep the bonus, the free. And by the way, you got beautiful distance shots here as well. Let me just remove the lady from the mix. You got beautiful distance shots here as well of the island. It's completely in water, and you have these cool, you know, kind of like in the tunnel. I have a cool angle here in the tunnel. Let me just showcase which one it is. Oh, this one is cool here. This one is really, really cool. All right, you got these cool shots as well. You can really play cinematic, you know, in a cinematic way with all this. And you got, as I said, top-down views that come from above. Pretty cool, right? You can go straight down. Really cool. Plus, like I mentioned, I've got this one here that's pretty much underneath the tunnel. This one's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And you got this one here that's really low where the water is. Map 41. That's it, guys. So like I said, I don't know for how long I will keep the extra bonus included, which is the JPEG mask, right? Right now they're included, but I'm uncertain for how long I will include that, because all that is just incredible value. You're getting 150 pre-rendered images at 8K, 8000 times 4000, superior quality without any noise. So it's a super package, well worth the regular price. And right now it's on a sale, right? So don't wait, grab this now. Have fun with it, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon again.